Good. You've got missing players, and we have no idea what's going to happen with this game this coming weekend. But what does that mean for the guys that are there versus the guys that aren't there with this compacted training camp? How do you get everybody up to the speed and on the same page, even though you're missing a handful of guys?
Well, it's getting. There's a lot that we have that we're trying to. That we're prioritizing. And right now, some of the top things are just our communication, our transition, both offense and defense. So it's been 2 days of practice where a lot of work has been on conditioning and running, things like that. Again, we know we have games coming up, and with going from nothing to games, it's a big part of it right now is just straight conditioning and getting guys familiar with the terminology and some of the basic coverages.
When you talk about the terminology and all of your sort of playbook, is there are your young guys taking to it quickly? Are they doing their film study and their book study off the court?
Yeah, they've been impressed. I've talked to the coaches about it after yesterday's practice. I was very impressed with the young group that we have playing together, as far as some of the 5-on-0 stuff we did and what they look like flowing. They picked up quicker than I would have thought they have, and they are students. They've separately asked for for video clips and film that they can watch back at the hotel. So, it's good to see young players building those habits early.
Sean Cunningham.
Hey, Luke, how's it going, man?
Hey, Sean.
I guess for you and just with the team that you have as you come in, are you kind of like the rest of us? Is there maybe a position that intrigues you most in terms of the battle for competition? And obviously knowing that, at this season, anything can happen and everyone's going to get opportunity. But just in the early stages, is there a position that kind of intrigues you most on your team?
No, we're looking at it all. And it's not just by position. We're looking at, different groupings going into it. But it's, we haven't had our group together since leaving the bubble. So, it's more as opposed to the individual matchups as far as guys competing, which we do love to see. It's more of how are groups going to be able to play together, and then we're going to start mixing all of those up in the next few days and trying some different ones out too.
And I guess along those lines too. I mean, when we talked to you in the bubble and during the last season, Jabari Parker, someone who had gotten kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit and kind of stood out yesterday, and talking to some guys, they kind of raved about the way he stood out, at least in day one. And I know it's only day one, but are you expecting a different role for him this season as going through if he's completely healthy?
Well, we'll have training camp to see how that all plays out, but everyone knows that they got to be ready. And there's, a lot of times as a coach, you want to play everybody, but that's not what's best. So, between the guys that are playing at a high level, it'll be my decision to pick who at least is getting those minutes to start the season, and then we'll adjust from there. But he came in and he's in shape and he looks good.
Hey, Luke, you obviously have dealt a little bit with, I guess, kind of reconvening in a not ideal situation when you talk about what happened with the bubble back just a few months ago, I guess. Can you describe a little bit about the guys who aren't with you right now, what you're doing to kind of bring them along as well? What's the most they can do, and how maybe that process is different from a normal guy being hurt or whatever compared to even the bubble when you guys?
Yeah, it's the protocol. People are in different parts of protocol. So, there's people with us that are doing, able to watch practice. And then there's, you can then start 1-on-0 workouts, which is kind of what we had to do all last week. So they're just kind of a week behind that. Whether you're with us on the court or not, there's film being sent and like video, visual learning happening, Zoom calls happening. And that's kind of just what we're making sure that those individuals are getting all the information we can get them until they can rejoin us on the court.
And in terms of timelines, do you have any timelines when you think you might have everybody back, injuries notwithstanding?
Yeah, no. I mean, we got one guy who is day to day, has a strain in his mild strain in his right calf, which I guess technically I can give you that name, which is Whiteside, and he's day to day. And besides that, it's one of those things. It's just you got to go through protocol, and that's going to be different for everyone depending on the information we continue to receive.
So, do you see any way he could play this week, Whiteside? With that?
No, I wouldn't see him playing by the first one. And again, who knows if we're even playing the first one? But we're gonna, once he gets cleared to get back in there and do full contact, he is out there on the court with our coaches doing. Doing 1-on-0 and moving and getting shots, and he looks good, and he's doing stuff in the weight room. But we'll bring someone his size. You want to kind of bring him back a little slower, just to make sure that he's healthy when it's time to play.
Jason Jones.
Hey, good afternoon, Luke.
Jason.
Hey, talking about White, not just White, but defenders in general. How do you kind of see that position shaping up? Is it going to be maybe a night-to-night thing where, depending on the matchup, you'll look to use flexibility and maybe not stick with one guy just because you do have a little versatility right there?
Yes, I do. I see everyone that we have different ways we can play that. So depending on matchups, that will change on certain nights. We'll let guys battle in training camp right now. But there's ways that we can go small and have shooting fives out there, and then we got some big dynamic guys, but they're all very capable basketball players. So they'll by the end of camp, there'll be guys that are kind of getting constant rotational minutes, and then there'll be other players that, depending on the situation and the type of team and who we're playing, those rotations might change a little.
And is that kind of going to the idea that you need everybody to be ready, and maybe you may start the season with one starting five, but that could change depending on, injuries, who you're playing, and kind of give you the flexibility like you did last season, where maybe you move Harrison to guard Porzingis or start Corey, given who you're playing? Absolutely.
And I think more so this season than any other, just with how it's going to go, and in the anticipation that there's going to be it's going to be a wild season. But I would say yes, that there'll be some of that happening, and then we'll constantly be looking to see what rotations that we want to go with for certain nights. And I think like the bubble, it's creating that idea and that understanding of like we need everybody, and certain nights are going to be different people, but we all have to be ready to bring it every night, play for each other every night, and have fun doing that.
Jason Anderson.
Hey, Luke, how are you doing today?
Hey, Jason.
I wanted to ask you about Ty. How has he looked to you so far? What looks good? What looks like it might need work? And how soon, might he be ready to be one of those rotational guys for you?
Yeah, I've been very pleased, impressed with his knowledge, how he sees the game, what he's looking to do. We're encouraging him to be as aggressive as possible. It's nice right now with some of the scrimmages. We're able to play him and Corey together, and Corey is a great vet, mentoring, showing, talking, helping lead teams. But he's been impressive the first 2 days, and I think one of the things that we heard about him is that everyone on the team loves playing with him already, and it's only been 2 days worth of scrimmages. So he's got one of those personalities and styles of game that attract people to want to play with him. But like most young players, he's got a lot of work to do. And he knows that, but he's constantly asking questions and wants to put in that work and wants to get better.
Okay. I also wanted to ask you a question. You were talking yesterday about 3-point shooting, the kinds of threes you want to get. And it kind of got me to thinking about the new dynamic with Monty and how he comes from such an analytics background with Houston where they worked with coaches. Can you give us any kind of an idea so far of what like that marriage looks like right now between the basketball side and, kind of the analytics side in terms of Monty's background?
But no, it's been good. It's very much that, we've talked and, he's going to bring ideas analytically to what, he sees. And then at the end of the day, I can take what ideas I want and leave what ones I don't. And, the coaching decisions are mine to be made. So it's nice to get different perspectives and different views. You try to do that when you hire a coaching staff around you, the type of people you bring in. So having, an analytical mind like him and his staff to throw suggestions out there is great. And then it's up to me to pick and choose what ones we want to implement.
Matt George.
Hey, Luke, good to talk to you.
Matt.
De'Aaron Fox has shared with us that he is really focusing on taking that next step in terms of being more of a vocal leader. Have you seen that in these first couple of days in full-on training camp?
I have, and it's one of those things that's an everyday commitment. And so we're only 2 days in right now, but I do respect the way he's going about that. Whether it's bringing huddles in, whether it's getting players in their positions before getting into the set. The things he's talking about as far as accountability and holding each other accountable on the court. So everything, 2 days so far, and it's something that we have to, and he has to continue to do every day that we're in the gym, has been very, very impressive by him so far.
And piggybacking off of one of Sean's questions, talking about the competition for different positions, do you encourage that competition to start from day one, or is that something players kind of ease into?
We want it from day one. We started scrimmaging day one, and we want guys going at each other. Harrison's organized one-on-one games after practice, both these first 2 days. So we want guys that have each other's back, but are trying to outplay each other every time we're on the court. So we definitely encourage that.
We have time for a few more. Julia.
Luke, with the addition of Rex Kalamian to your staff, will we be seeing significant changes to defensive schemes as opposed to a year ago?
No, Rex and I spent a lot of time talking, since we hired him on our team and strengths and weaknesses. And, there's coverage wise, there's definitely different ways to do things. And we've made some adjustments, G-Man, but you'll see some more switching this year than we did last year. You'll see a little bit different on the pick and roll coverage, but he's done a really nice job so far in kind of building relationships with the players. And one of the things that I was real excited about working with him is hearing from former players of his that I talked to before we hired him, and just the way he interacts with them and how much they enjoy playing for his type of defense. And he's done a really nice job of that in the short time he's been here.
Thank you.
James here.
Hey, Luke. You talked about Halliburton, but you got two other rookies, specifically Robert Woodard. What have you seen from him? And I know, we talked to Corey early on, and he said, "Man, that guy is jacked." Is there a young guy that you see coming in that has that type of NBA body, or how does he fit into what you're trying to do?
Yeah, he's he's a strong young man. He one of the competitions / baseline we try to get on the players is in the weight room, and as a rookie he won bench press version of it, which again, in a grown man league coming out of college, you don't normally see that, but he's got a lot of potential, a lot of upside. Really good young man as far as, when you talk to him, how he wants to be great, how he pushes himself. And again, there's plenty of things he knows he needs to keep working on. His being able to shoot consistent from the 3-point line will be a big part of his development as a pro. But he's somebody you like having in the gym, constantly working hard, constantly running hard, and wants to get better. So yeah, he's been good so far as well.